Yes people, you know who it is. I'm going to say my name anyway. My name is Outs, O-U-T-S-S. So this video is going to be about my 5 personal tips, things I like to do when I'm making lo-fi hip hop music. Number 1, I'd say, is to change the pitch. Have you ever had it when you are referring back to the same chords, the same sort of sound, basically based on what you know, so what you usually do when you create music? We all have them patterns, we all have them automatic sort of processes that we refer to. So it's good to get a different perspective on things when you're making songs. To do this, I'd say do something as simple as bring your chord progressions down a key. This would make the whole song sound different, it would make it have a different feel. It might not, you know, it depends on what you've played and it depends on the type of thing you're going for, but I'd say it's definitely another tool to keep in mind when you have writer's block, or when you just don't want your beats to all sound the same. I personally have done this with a plugin by Sound Toys called Little Alter Boy. It's definitely worth checking out. It's quite cheap as well, and it's definitely a very useful plugin for myself and for any other people who want to kind of like change the pitch in sounds while also degrading the sort of sound itself, and it gives it this weird kind of warped sort of sound, and it has like this sort of weird width to it as well. And also there's a distortion option as well, which is great, obviously very handy for the sort of sounds we're making, right? So yeah, I'd say change the pitch, use plugins, experiment. Little Alter Boy by Sound Toys. Number 2, utilize the warp function in Ableton. All my Ableton heads out there, warp is key to creating glitchy sort of lo-fi sort of sounds. Something I've done in the past is working at a certain tempo, let's say 120 BPM, and then slow it all the way down to something like 70 BPM. It's a big tempo drop, and this will cause the warp function to like automatically stretch the sounds to match the tempo. Number 3, try other things than Ableton's final distortion. Please try something else to sound, you know, I know we all want that sort of lo-fi hiss, you know, to like make it sound real or whatever, to make it sound like it's, you know, from an analog gear or just lo-fi in general, but there's so many more plugins you can use. For example, something I've found really handy recently is iZotope's Trash. That is a really good plugin just because the amount of flexibility you have with it. I'd say Final Distortion is good. I've used it on a lot of things, but it got boring really quickly. Just generally because it is what it is, you know. Like, but with Trash, you can do quite a lot, and it's all different types of distortion as well. So it's generally a good distortion plugin, and also it's quite good for subtle distortion, for subtle characteristics in a song that you would want to add. I used it on my last project, just basically to make everything almost sound a bit like a cassette, you know, like to make it sound really degraded and lo-fi. That's what we want, right? So use anything other than final distortion. It's getting to the point where it's kind of cliche, you know, it's kind of a meme, you know, but like, yeah, experiment. Alright, number 4. Yes, there's number 4. Number 4, I'd say something that's really staple in lo-fi, and if you haven't done it before, I'd suggest you get on it really quickly, because, you know, it will make your song sound so much more like the genre you're intending it to, which is aggressive sidechaining. Sidechaining is kind of a key technique in a lot of new genres. EDM is an obvious one. Hip hop, obviously. Hip hop's been, yes, hip hop itself, sidechain has been quite popular since Jay Dilla, you know. I think he was one of the guys that actually started the sidechain technique, and now look where we are, everyone's doing it, you know, and for a reason, you know, like it's definitely a good technique to have in your toolbox when creating these sorts of beats. Ableton is really good for sidechaining your drums or anything really. It's very simple, little sidechain button that actually says sidechain. How easy can it be, right? So that is definitely a good thing to remember when you're making music. Not music, lo-fi. Yeah, it's barely music, I guess, but still, we enjoy it, right? Aggressive sidechaining. So don't just be like subtle with it. You can, but it's much more fun when you're, when it's all over the place and you're having fun. You could always turn it down. You know what I mean? But I've found personally that you get big results if you do it big. So aggressive sidechaining, it will make it stand out. Yes. And another thing I'd say, I've got a little note over on the laptop. Group the sample and the bass, and then sidechain the drums to go over them. So it's not just, the bass isn't just ducking when the drums hit, it's also the sample, so the drums will be cutting through it all. Number 5, the last one, I'd say it's aggressive filtering. Alright, so we all know that lo-fi uses a lot of filters, right? We want to take out the high end, we want to make it sound a bit more degraded, a bit more old school. I'd say Ableton is really good with the auto filters, just basically because it has the drive functions as well, so you can really dirty it up. But I'd say personally, I don't know if other people do it, but I've heard, yeah, actually I think other people do it, but group the drums and then filter the whole drum rack in Ableton, right? So basically you're cutting out all the high frequencies to all the drums, and it all sounds like it's all from one source, if you know what I mean. So it's all like from one cassette tape or whatever, you know what I mean. So it sounds more genuine. And I'd say when I'm filtering, because I've got a little note here, when I'm filtering, I might emphasize the high mid range a bit, with a little peak in the resonance, just basically to make the snare a bit more crack, make it have a bit more crack, and even the kick in some circumstances. But with the kick, I tend to actually filter at the high end because I like my kicks sort of like more low endy, like round, like J Dilla beats sort of have, like round, sort of less high sort of kicks, and the snare really stands out. Yeah. So that's it. That's my 5 tips. Hope you found it useful. I'm definitely going to be uploading more videos in 2018. Definitely, I need to start really getting on this platform. We're on 241 subscribers, so we're getting there. Because last year I had it was in the hundreds. I think it was 17 something, So it's definitely, there is a boost, and we'll keep growing. I just need to keep uploading more content, and I'll definitely do so. And if you haven't, check out my project that's up, Joints, the beat tape, on my SoundCloud now. I released it like a couple weeks ago, 9 tracks I think. Very proud of it, and it's also available on Bandcamp. But I might as well give you both of the links. soundcloud.com/OUTSS online, Outs online, 2 S's, and outs.bandcamp.com.